Are you really fine? Your partner asks you after you've pretty much given them the silent treatment for a notable period of time. Is everything okay? And you say, yep, fine, everything's fine. And you know what I'm talking about. And you know if I'm talking to you. So here's something you may not know about me. I'm an award-winning journalist and communications and marketing expert. And I've been writing and developing communication strategy for businesses large and small for decades. And yep, fine is not messaging that works. It won't educate or engage your audience, even if it's an audience of one, or further your cause. I know, sure, it might intrigue the wrong people who are looking for a relationship based on drama and dishonesty and see drawing you out as a personal challenge. But if you want a relationship with someone who's healthy and functional, steeped in intimacy and authenticity, then the strategy of saying, yep, fine, will only alienate and confuse and exhaust. Which is why you must actually say something else. Now, I know there are a lot of reasons, conscious and otherwise, that you may feel like you need to keep your feelings to yourself. You might be thinking, what you have to say won't matter because your partner either really sucks or doesn't deserve it and probably won't care anyway, in which case you're there. Why? Maybe it has nothing to do with your partner who is, absolutely wonderful and may have zero idea of what's going on for you, or if they inadvertently did something to hurt you, or maybe you're a people pleaser and you don't want to rock the boat, or you're just not ready to share because you're still working through those feelings, or you don't know how to share the best way, or you're still too upset, or you're afraid that sharing is going to drive this person away, or they won't care or respond in the way that you're really hoping they will. Or that you and your feelings just don't matter, that you just don't deserve to speak your truth or have someone listen and actually be there for you. There are all sorts of reasons, no judgment at all, why we don't say what we need to say when we're upset. And I could write a book about all of those many scenarios. In fact, many people have. But whatever the reason is, in not speaking our truth, sharing how we feel, especially when we're asked, we risk derailing even the best of relationships, which frankly isn't fair to you or anybody else. The thing is, good relationships hinge on good communication. I mean, look at every rom-com movie in the world and otherwise. The tension always comes from silence or assumptions or the fear of being honest. When Harry Met Sally or Bridgerton or even shows like Breaking Bad and Ozark, which are so good, they all involve some form of miscommunication in relationship that may make for a great Netflix binge, but definitely not a healthy relationship. To the contrary, harmonious relationships that go the distance, that have real longevity, are built on authenticity and trust, where people feel free to be who they actually are and say what they mean and share their feelings without worrying that their partners are going to leave them or worse. And that's because conflict is a healthy part of relationship. It's even necessary, and research totally backs me up here. It's found that the problem isn't whether you fight, but actually how you do it, that will ultimately determine your fate as a couple. So do you play dirty? Do you share your feelings honestly with kindness? Or do you say, I'm fine, when in reality, you're definitely not? If you find yourself in that latter category, here are some tips for opening up in a way that may make you feel a bit safer about speaking your mind. So remember, timing is everything. Make sure that conditions are really ripe and good for good communications, knowing that there's a time and a place for everything, especially certain conversations. So don't bring up how unhappy you are with whatever your partner said or did that time, when either one of you is sick with the flu or about to give a big presentation or step into a complicated situation at home or work or anywhere else. You don't want to come in real hot, especially if your partner doesn't know that you're angry. If you're feeling that really angry and your partner is asking what's wrong, kindly let them know that you're still processing your feelings and that you'll let them know when you're ready to talk and do it. And don't engage when you're in the heat of emotion. That's a bad idea. Don't let feelings linger. While you shouldn't have deep conversations when you're steeped in really deep whatever, you also don't want to let those feelings fester. So work to talk about issues when they happen so they're fresh in your mind and the other person's mind. It's too easy to say you'll address a complicated subject later and then let all sorts of time pass and then tell yourself, that was a while ago. I'm just going to let it go at this point, because that is how resentment builds. So actually get it out when it happens. And consider your tone. You don't want to be overly aggressive and accusing or meekly passive either, where you're apologizing for how you feel. Instead, you want to be assertive. You want to be firm in how you feel, honest and open to hearing the other person's side. Give the person the benefit of the doubt as appropriate. So if your partner is a jerk or is doing the same things over and over and over with no care to your feelings, even though you've had the conversation, that's one thing. In which case, again, why are you still there? But if your partner is good in that you know they love and care and respect you, it's safe to assume good intentions or that they may have no idea what they have done wrong. Let go of expectations. Allow yourself to go into these discussions without the expectation that your partner is going to see it all your way. Be prepared to compromise. That's the key to all relationships, is to make sure you both leave any and all conversations or situations feeling good about what you got from it. Let go of ego. This is hard for some people, but it's specifically about your messaging when you're talking about your feelings. So instead of putting all of it on the other person, saying things like, I feel like you always do X, say, I feel sad or whatever emotion when you do whatever it is they do. Own your part. Finally, know that healthy, happy relationships are not defined by just one hard conversation. I had a friend who once said to me when I was reluctant to share my feelings with a boyfriend that if it's that fragile, is it worth it? Promise each other that you'll always create a safe and loving space for honesty, even when it's hard. And lastly, if you're not sure how to approach a subject because it's deeper than you can handle, there is nothing wrong in reaching out to a trained counselor or therapist for help and guidance. Whatever you need to do to push through and find the safety and confidence you need to speak your truth. The thing is, the silent treatment is never a healthy or productive way to go. It leaves everybody to their own devices and imaginations in the worst of ways. And that's because feelings left to simmer in an unattended way, they don't get better. They only get worse. So if you want your relationship to go the distance, if it's worthy of going the distance, speak up and encourage your partner to do the same.